All right, welcome to New Consultant Training Class 2B. Here we are, and last week, as I shared with you guys, we went through my favorite concept that we teach in Mary Kay, which is booking. And the reason, of course, being that when you have bookings on your date book, you have business. You have new relationships that you're going to build, you have women to serve, and everything that we work towards or that you want to accomplish in your business is going to come from that. So it's exciting to have bookings. And we talked a little bit about coaching, but we're going to dig a lot deeper into that tonight because coaching is crucial. If you're going to take the time and the effort to actually set up appointments with people, you want them to hold as much as possible. You want to actually have successful ones. And so that's the skill that we're going to talk about that really backs up and supports booking. And it really is something that I did not do well in the beginning, and my appointments showed that. Had low turnout, had low results. A lot of times the party didn't happen. It turned out to be a facial, and it was just because I wasn't doing a good job. And so that's what we're going to talk about tonight is how do you make sure you're prepared for those appointments? How do you do a great job setting them up and taking ownership for them? Most women are not adept in the language of party plan and hosting, and that's not something they do all the time. There's a few people who have a natural gift for hosting, but most people need some support. So that's what we're going to talk about. And the first thing that I had to learn to do was to actually have hostess packets. Yeah, I didn't even have hostess packets. I would go to appointments and I would just be like, yeah, there's like info, and if you do this and this, it'll work. And I just didn't really do a good job. So what I would recommend is if you've had a beauty bash, you probably put together at least 10 of these, at my request. So whether you did or didn't, make sure you have at least 10 hostess packets ready at the beginning of each month. That way you have them, you can put them in your bag, you have them ready to give out, you're not scrambling. Stress in Mary Kay typically comes from just not preparing and then scrambling and feeling like, oh my gosh, where's my stuff? I can speak from personal experience on that. So what I would say is start the month out by getting hostess packets put together, and then make sure before you go to your appointment that your check is to make sure in your bag you have 4 or 5 hostess packets. That way you're ready and you have them ready to go. And so we're going to talk about the documents that go in the hostess packet. And they were emailed out to you guys this week, Monday, I believe. So the first one I would like you to grab is the hostess booking sheet. The hostess booking sheet, this is what you're going to explain to her as far as what she gets. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you guys right now the way I would talk to a hostess. And so here's how I would say it. We've got a date and a time set, and I would say, okay, so what we're going to do as far as having girlfriends come is all on here. This sheet shows what you get free. So just by having 3 girls come that day, you're going to get free stuff. And so as long as they're at least 3, they're over 18, and they don't already have a consultant that they are committed to with a relationship there, they count. So what happens is if 3 girls are there, you're going to get $25 just for giving me your list of people to invite tomorrow. So I'm going to send out a text invite to help you out, kind of partner with you in getting the word out. And it also helps me plan because I'm going to ask them a few specific questions. So if you just give me your list of women by tomorrow, we're good to go. And on your referral sheet, I'll give that back to you here in a minute, and you can star anyone on there that you want to invite. And then I'll have those names right up. And then you can think about anybody you didn't put down on your referral sheet. And I will, I'll touch base with you tomorrow to get anybody else you want to add. So that's the $25 free. Then you get $5 per guest that comes. So it's just $5 a head, unless you have 5 ladies. And then if you have 5 ladies, you actually get $10 a head. So that's unlimited. You can get as much free as you want, but just $5 or $10 per woman if you have 5 or more who are over 18 who don't have a consultant. And then lastly, if you collect outside orders from people who can't come and can't be there, you'll get another $25 free per $100 in orders that you have. So altogether, if you max that basic out, that's $100 free. And I try to make sure it's super simple. You don't have to do a lot. There's no pressure on anyone. If they'll just come have fun, you get lots of free stuff. And that's because I appreciate you and you're helping me in my business. So that's how the free stuff works. And then this is the checklist here, the follow-up checklist document. I'm going to put our date and time on here. And then it just says make a list of 15 to 20 girlfriends. They do not have to be confirmed, just the women that you would like us to invite. And you can let them know that I'll touch base with them if you want to, but this is where anybody that you didn't already put down on your referral sheet for that, you can add their names and numbers here and then just take a picture and send it to me tomorrow when I touch base with you. And that'll give you your guest list, and that's $25 free right there. So that's a spot for you. And then there is a catalog and an outside order form. And so if you do have people who would like to order who can't come, just jot it down on there, and you can give that to me at the party, and we'll take care of that. And that's how you get free stuff. And again, just a thank you for partnering with me. Do you have any questions? Okay. So that's how I coach someone through the Hostess program. And you'll notice that I spoke to her as though I had met her at a facial or party and she had given me referrals. We're going to talk about referrals in class 3. And depending on how much you've done with Mary Kay up to this point, you may already know about our referrals. But I do always use that as the starter guest list because it's so easy. I just hand her the thing and she stars 10, 15 people on there, and that's a guest list. And now I can go home and I can send the invite out first thing tomorrow. I don't even have to wait on her. So it's wonderful. If you are just booking a party with her straight up, then of course you wouldn't mention the referrals. And you would just tell her, hey, jot down your names and numbers on the sheet, and I'll get a picture of it from you tomorrow. So it's simple. You don't want to overdo and make it seem complicated, but just very clearly explaining how it works is kind. Being unclear is unkind because then they don't really know what they're supposed to do. They don't really do it, and then they don't have a good turnout. And then if you've ever hosted a party that didn't go well, it's so discouraging. It's such a bummer. And so you don't want her to have that feeling. And so our job is to be the one that knows what to do, and we help them and we make it clear for how to make that happen. Okay, so that's the Hostess packet, and I would recommend that you may watch this first, 5 minutes of the recording 3, 4, 5 times. Review it. Keep it simple, but know how to move through that packet very clearly so that she knows what to expect from you, and that's really important. So now go to back to the document called the coaching process. We looked at this a little bit last week, but I want to look at it again and review a little bit. Step 1 is going over the Hostess packet, which we just did on the coaching process. So we covered that. We're good. Now, this is the point at which you've given her the packet. So if you met her at a facial or a party, she's going home and you're going home and she's got the packet. Maybe you just booked her separately and she, has her party info. So you've given it to her. What you're going to do the next day, step 2 is make an invite for her on the Red Stamp app. And there's an example of what I do for that. And then you can send her that invite in the text info to send out to her friends. And that way she can kind of put the heads up to them, kind of be the starter of the momentum. But you're not going to put everything in her hands. If she doesn't get that done, that's not a big deal, you know, like encourage her to do it, ask her if she would, but you're going to be the one taking the ownership of getting the word out. So this is just a gesture that allows her the chance to reach out to them. But don't get stuck on this. You don't have to wait to do everything else until you know she sent it out. Just give her that info the next day. And then step 3 is also to send her a thank you note. This is really important. I think that the written word has a lot of power. It conveys commitment and it conveys professionalism. And it's also just like happy mail. How often when you check the mail do you find one handwritten thing and it's like, ooh, what's that? You pull it out because it's not a bill, it's not junk mail, it's not an advertisement, and that's exciting. And so you get to be that for women and just sending them a thank you note. And again, it conveys that you are committed to be there, and it provides a really good reminder for her a couple days after she booked. Oh yeah, I am hosting a party. So here's an example that you can say. Dear Sarah, I'm so excited to get together with you and a few friends on blank. We'll have a great time, and you'll love getting to play with color and pick out your free products. I really appreciate your time. It will be a blast. Just upbeat, fun. You can thank her for helping you with the goal that you've been sharing with her as well. I would love to remind them, thank you so much for helping me with this truck. It means so much. I just want her to know that she's important, and it's not just if she feels like having a party, but that she really matters. So that's what I do the day after I book a party. I send a thank you note, and then I contact the hostess with her little red stamp app invite and her text that she can send out. So then as you contact her, that's where you're getting her list back, any additional names, numbers, and things. And then what you'll do with step 4, getting her guest list, is to obviously get her info from them. And then step 4 is to invite her guests. So as soon as you have the list, a couple weeks before the party, you can reach out to her guests. And I typically text first, text everybody out, and then you know, a lot of people respond that way. And then after a few days, if there's some that haven't responded, then I'll call those and leave a voicemail with basically the same information that I text out to see if that is a better way to reach them. And then after that second contact, if a few more days goes by and I still haven't really heard a response from them, I'll ask the hostess if she's heard. Do you know if so-and-so's coming? That way I'm not being heavy-handed, but I do have a way of finding out, is so-and-so coming? So it really is a partnership between myself and the hostess to get the guests there and to get their information. I don't leave it all in her hands. She's busy. She has other things in life. She doesn't know how necessarily to have a successful party, so I take the ownership of that. But then I also want her to work with me so that they're hearing from their friend and they know that this is legit and that she's excited about it. So this is the example that I would share when I text them the information. I send the red stamp invite that I made for the hostess, and I just say, hey Tina, I'm Jess Mitchell. Your friend Cassidy is gathering a few friends for some pampering this Thursday at 6, and I'm the girl bringing all the goodies. It'll be a deep cleansing facial and microdermabrasion treatment, which feels amazing. I'm also putting together a swag bag of goodies for each of you, so let me know if you think you can come or not, and I'll ask you a couple questions so I can customize your bag. Pretty simple, not overly informative, and I didn't make it sound like it was about me. It's Cassidy having girlfriends together. Simple, and I didn't call it a Mary Kay party. Sometimes that has a weird connotation, so I prefer to say gathering friends. And then they respond, sure, I'll try my best. And then I respond, awesome. And I ask her 3 questions. Number 1, is your skin normal, dry, combination, or oily? 2, do you prefer makeup or skincare? And then 3, if you could change anything about your complexion, what would it be? What would you change? And then I get their response, and then I reply to that message with a comment. And so just a way that she can have something she's looking forward to for herself. She's coming for her friend, she wants to support her, but that way I can give her something to look forward to. So you'll see right there, okay, great. I'll give you a skincare swag bag for sure, because she said skincare was what she preferred. And I can't give you a tan, LOL, because she said paleness, but we do a lot with glowing skin, so at least that can help you not feel so pasty. So just a small comment. And if that makes you nervous and you're like, how on earth would I know what to tell her? Let me give you some help. The profile card here is your best friend for that. When you look on the left-hand side of the profile card, it has a bunch of questions that that they can answer. So for instance, it says, pick the statements that best describe your skincare needs. And there's brighten and even the look of skin tone, improve the texture, help reduce the appearance of deep wrinkles, need extra hydration. I mean, it just has a bunch of options. When they tell you what their issue is that they would love to fix, you can mark it on their card. And then when you flip up the page, underneath it, it actually gives you the recommended product for that issue. So it matches up and transfers your little check mark through, and you can see immediately what product is going to be helpful for her. And you can say, you know what, Susie? Let me find one here. I will totally show you our Time-Wise Repair Deep Wrinkle Filler. It helps a ton with deep wrinkles and expression lines. So we'll definitely let you check that out. So something simple, again, that personalizes it for her. And that's really, really important. It gives her that hook of something she can look forward to. And then you'll notice there's one more paragraph that I send. I do say, P.S. Feel free to bring a friend or family member with you. We have a spot for 3 more ladies, and I have an extra gift for anyone who brings an extra with them. Just let me know if so. Lighthearted, not too, intense, but it is so smart to just throw that out and just give her the chance to bring someone. You can double the turnout for your hostess, which is good for her free stuff. And of course, it's great for you to meet new women as well. So I always mention that. And it's amazing how often somebody will, or a few people will bring a friend. So that's how I communicate with the guests back and forth to get the information down that I need. And then step 5 and 6 is just checking in with the hostess along the way and at the end, making sure she knows what time you're coming, how that's going to work. And then also, I like to be the encourager. So after my initial reach out, I love to say, hey, Sarah responded. She's really excited. Can't wait to meet her. Hey, I heard from Susie today. She's looking forward to it. So I'm not like constantly texting her about it, but I'm keeping her in the loop of who I've talked to, what they're saying, and I'm always, of course, being the positive. I'm not saying, I haven't heard from anyone. Is anyone coming? Not that. And never, are we still on? Never, ever do I say that. If she booked the date and she gave me the guest list, we're on. And I'm going to reach out to her guests. I'm going to do the info back and forth with her. We're going to find out, who's coming. And it's not a if thing. It's a when we get together, who's going to be there. So that's the process of coaching her along the way to the appointment so she knows what to expect. And so she stays excited and you're kind of touching base with her, letting her know what to look forward to and who you're connecting with. So I think it really allows you to feel connected to her guests before they get there. And it gives you a chance to just stay in touch with the hostess and kind of build that friendship. I'll make personal comments in there or ask her how such and such is going and try to be a friend and a person, not just the, hey, Susie's coming, see you Friday, but really engaging her as a friend. So as we've talked about these steps and the process of helping someone go from booking to appointment and have people there and know what's happening, sometimes those steps feel a little overwhelming in the beginning when you're trying to wrap your head around them and remember and make sure you do them all. And eventually, I promise you, it becomes second nature. It's like, oh, duh, I have to get her guest list. What else would I do? But we have a document that I sent out for this class called the Working Full Circle document. document. And that is meant to help you stay in organization with each of your bookings, so you know the steps you've taken, and you know how to, what needs to happen, and all of your information is in one place. So one idea that I share with people is to print the Working Full Circle sheet as well, and actually put it in your hostess packet. If you put it in the hostess packet, then when you're setting things up with her and you're filling out her sheets, you can go ahead and start filling yours out and keep the Working Full Circle for you. So you have down all the dates that you shared with her, information that you need, and you're ready to go. And again, you're not going off scrambling trying to print a sheet and fill it out for the party, and you already have that ready. So that's one idea, or you could just tuck it in your bag somewhere. But make sure you print some Working Full Circle sheets out. Let's look at this sheet. On the left side, hostess information. Her name, her address, if you need to write it there. I mean, if you have it on her profile card and you're good with that, that's fine. Same with phone number, and then the class location. Is it at her house or is it somewhere else? And then did you send her the thank you yet? You want to check that off, that you for sure did that. And then on the right-hand side where it says class information, you have the date. What is the date of her class? And class is another word for party. Again, sometimes the word party can have a negative connotation with people, or they think, now I have to invite 30 people, it's going to be a big deal, versus a class or a get together. So use the terminology you want to use, but that's why that says class. What is the date? And then the date to get her guest list. Obviously, it's going to be the next day, but that way you can write it down and you've got it written. The date to pre-profile her guests. So, when are you going to start sending out messages to them to get their info? Did you give her the hostess packet? And then her goal is, what would she love to earn? It's fun to know what she's excited about. Is she wanting a miracle set? Is she wanting a brush set? A new color look? What is she eyeballing that this party is going to help her get? And you can encourage her with that. And then halfway down the page where it says guest information, that's a spot where you can transfer her list of names that she gave you to this, so that you have all the names and numbers in one spot, and then you can make notes about pre-profiling them. That's what we call, when you call ahead or you text ahead of time, we call that pre-profiling, because you're getting their info and a skincare profile for them. And then added to customer list would be after the party. Once you did meet those women, you can check that you got them added in to your customer list. So again, that's just a place where you don't have to have all the numbers on your phone or a sheet here and a sheet there. You can kind of put them all in one place and have all of her guests' information ready to go. And then at the bottom, after the class, did you send her another thank you? That can be a fun thing to do. Did you post the info to your weekly sales sheets, which we talked about, weekly accomplishment sheets in class 1, where you're posting your sales? That's super important. Did you add their names to your customer list? And then did you follow up with any who were team member prospects that you do want to layer in that way? And then on the right side, self-evaluation. This is the super important part of the sheet. And this is the part that I want to hear about from you every time you hold a party. Like, there is never a day, maybe when you're a sales director, where I won't want to hear, hey, I had a party and this is what happened, because this is the part where we get to tweak and hone what you're doing and how you're doing, and get you better and better results, and help you to maximize those appointments and maximize the impact that you get to have on women. And so these are the questions that I want to hear from you about after those appointments. First off, who did I meet who was a leader? Was there a woman at the table who was like, man, she's like confident, and she would be like, she could be a director. She could be like doing what Jess does. It doesn't mean that she wants to. It doesn't mean that she knows what that is. It just means that you saw that in her. Jot that down. Next, who did I meet who could be a team member? Maybe they aren't necessarily like leader of the pack, but they're fun, they're upbeat, they're loving everything. Or maybe you sense something about them that they could really use what we have in Mary Kay. It would bless them in some way. Jot their name down. Again, they don't have to have said that. They don't have to be thinking about it. They really probably won't be 9 times out of 10, but it's just you seeing potential in someone else. You seeing a dream that could bless someone's life. That's what you're kind of looking for, is just who was there, who either was a leader or who could be a wonderful team member in Mary Kay if they wanted to do that, and just jotting them down. The next, number of bookings. How many of the women who scheduled their follow-up appointment decided to invite guests? That's an important one to look at, because when you book a follow-up and they're inviting friends, that is expanding your business. That's giving you new leads, new contacts to meet, and it's doing the work for you because you don't have to go home and call people, you have a booking. So we want to pay attention to that and hopefully have 2 from every party that you book. Number of skincare sets sold. The reason we look at that is also because skincare builds the most loyal customers. They are the most committed and the most likely to reorder. It's one thing to run out of mascara and run to Walmart, even though I can't imagine doing that. But it's another thing to run out of your cleanser and moisturizer that you love and run to Walmart. Probably not. They're going to call you more for that. It's also the highest profit margin. So when you build skincare customers, you're building your income that's residual as long as you stay in Mary Kay and take care of women. So we want to look at that and see if you can do 2 skincare sets per party. 2. And then what went well? Honestly, what felt good? What felt comfortable? What part did you enjoy the most? We're going to be able to identify your strengths and your sweet spots. And in Mary Kay, we want you to play to that. So where you're good and where you're naturally gifted, that's really important to know so that you can maximize that and enjoy that and stay in that zone as much as possible. So we want to think about that. And then what didn't go well? What just felt awkward? What result maybe didn't happen like you thought? What just, didn't go great? And that's super important as well. Not because we're going to put all of our focus on that, but as I've said a few times, that is going to pinpoint an area where I need to train you a little bit more, where I need to fill in a gap for you or give you a tip or an idea, something that we haven't gotten fully connected yet that's going to help you. So please, 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 I just beseech you to really, truly share with me this information after every appointment. You can text me, you can Vox, you can call and leave a voicemail, whatever works for you. If I'm not available, my phone is put away and I will not be bothered, but I will be overjoyed to hear about it. And that's the point, right? Is that every appointment we get to learn and adjust and tweak. And that is still my journey, is learning and adjusting and tweaking as I go. And so you are right in there with me if that's what you are doing. And to me, that tells me that you're hungry, that you want to be successful when you reach out and share. Because again, I can't read your mind. I don't always know what you're working on, but I do care and I love hearing about it. So as we wrap up, a couple comments for you. We are going to talk about swag bags next. I think it's in the next class, like exactly what goes in those. So if you're like stuck on that, like Jess, you tell them you're making a swag bag. What is that? We're getting there. So don't worry, we will cover that. I do recommend making them ahead of time, just like your hostess packets. Put together 10 of skincare and 10 of color and have them ready to go. It's just smart. And so one thing to think about as you are getting your business going here is just to think, okay, what are the things at the beginning of each month that I just want to sit down and take 2 hours and knock out? It might even honestly only take 1. What are those couple things? So it might be hostess packets. How am I on swag bags? And then do I have all of my referral sheets? Do I have my customer profiles ready to go? And it's just taking that time to start the month and kind of be stocked up and then you can fly through it and you're not running crazy and you're not feeling overwhelmed by details. So that's just a comment for you. And then hold on to the names of the people that you're given for guest lists, because even if they don't end up coming, or they tell you right away, hey, I can't come, I have booked many, many, many women off of that because I had the info and I had that contact with them. And so hold on to names. Don't ever throw away, a guest list that you receive. If the party cancels or, the person doesn't get to make it, you can still work with that and utilize it in the future. And we'll talk more about that. So there we go, guys. That is class 2B. Be sure to fill out and complete the voucher and turn that in this week, just having worked through a little bit of homework. And then next week, we are going to get down to the nitty-gritty details of how to do a party, step by step by step, and walk you through the pieces of it and why we do it. And you are going to love it. It's going to be a huge help. So I hope you guys have a great night, and thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next week.